Alright, hey guys, Pax, welcome back to another Pokemon Pocket video. In this video, we'll be going over Mega Charizard X EX. X EX, try saying that 3 times fast. So yeah, we have the Mega right here. One of, if not the most popular Mega in all of Pokemon. So yeah, this is Mega Charizard X EX. HP 210, stage 2 of course. Has 1 attack, Raging Blaze, requires 3 fire type energy. Does 100 base damage if this Pokemon's remaining HP is 110 or less. This attack does 80 more damage, so a total of 180, not hitting as much as its other Mega counterpart, but still doing some substantial damage. So yeah, this is the card. This is a deck right here. I'll show it yet again towards the end of the video. Only running 1 copy of Charizard X. 1 copy is all you really need because of Entei-EX's goated ability. But yeah, this is your first video on my channel. Really do consider if you like and subscribe. Really does help me out, especially as a small-time content creator. And without further ado, let's get right into the deck showcase. Alright, here we are. In our first battle, we are going first up against the Mega Slowbro Ex solo deck. If you guys are new to my deck showcases, first battle isn't really meant to be too hard, more so just to get the feel for the deck. So ideally, of course, for this deck, you do want to lead with Entei, just to maximize the ability Legendary Pulse. At this point, I'm actually going to May. I could Professor, but I do want to get 1 copy of Charmander on the field, so not too bad. At this point, just do this for now. Place down Charmander, end her turn. Next turn, if you do evolve into Charmeleon, Entei can start attacking. Places a Fion in the bench, attacks with this Fion, and then feeds the other one. Here we go. Could be a bit better. Not gonna lie, definitely could be a bit better. Might as well get all our Pokemon out. We are running this copy of Charizard, the non-EX version, primarily just to counteract Oricorio, feed yet again, and attack. Okay, interesting. Opponent Giant keeps the Fion. We are gonna one-shot regardless. However, this is getting rather scary since my opponent did play Tatsugiri. This Pokemon will be doing 100 damage onto Entei, which means that we are forced to PC Lady. I was gonna chill like this, yeah. So feed Entei. Next turn, if you feed this guy 1 more energy, we are able to do 120, absolutely one-shotting Tatsugiri. Alright, Entei is down to 10 HP. Hopefully you can pull. We got a Flame Patch. This is rough, but we can definitely still work with this. So at this point, just feed and attack. At this point, I could just leave with Charizard, this non-EX version. Next turn, if we do get our second copy of Charmeleon, I can just feed this guy 4 energy. Getting this Charmander fully built, able to attack, doing 150. But again, this is a Mega Charizard X deck showcase, so I want to focus on that. Primarily, at this point, just Blazing Beatdown. Next turn, we win regardless. There we go. Finally got Mega Charizard X. Rest in peace, Entei, but it works out, because now the final boss is here. So evolving to Charizard X, Flame Patch yet again, feed the last energy, and just like that, 100 damage. Yeah, doing 100, but then again, keep in mind, once this guy does get down to 110 HP or less, you're doing 180. So yeah, I feel like to maximize the damage, you want to get this guy low, which is why personally, we shall see later on in the video, but I'm still kind of leaning to Mega Charizard X. I just love how powerful that Mega is. Very much a spiritual successor to the genetic Apex Charizard. This guy, in a sense, I feel like is more of a successor to the Shining Revelry Charizard EX. But yeah, I just like Charizard Y because you can just one-shot 90% of the Pokemon in the game. Most EXs as well. And yeah, with that being said, we shall see how this deck performs in PvP. Alright, here we are in PvP battle, going second. Only now is a Charizard, and we are cooking. Opponent red cards? Okay. They could just feel like my hand was pretty good. It was okay. But this has potential to be much better. Yeah, okay. That's, I'll take it. So, Pokeball. Hopefully we can get a Charmander, please. Yep, there we go. Shiny Charmander. Place him down. Copycat. I'm liking the looks of this. This looks nice. In 2 turns, Entei-EX will be doing 120. Especially going up against a deck such as Mega Gengar EX, which people are trying to make work. But if you guys haven't seen my deck showcase, it's really hard to make this guy viable, at least in this meta. But this guy is using this Gengar. Okay, this guy might be actually better. Hypnoblast, 70 damage. This guy will put Entei-EX to sleep. So this might be a non-EX Darkrai variant. Oh boy, yeah, this is looking very promising. So just like this, evolve yet again. Next turn, we can get Charmander X EX out. X EX. Try saying that 3 times fast. Yeah, screw it. Look at that. Just like this. Blazing Beatdown, 120. And this is why Fire type is so much fun, because you can do insane damage super fast. I'm essentially doing the exact same damage as Mega Gengar EX. Abilities aside, yeah. So here we go, coin flip. Please. There we go. You gotta love the sleep mechanic in this game. You're either gonna love it or hate it. You're either gonna get 5 heads in a row or 5 tails in a row. Opponent concedes, I don't blame them. So yeah, honestly, the heart and soul for this deck, and most fire decks as well, especially if you are running any Charizard, is Charmeleon. You get so much value using Charmeleon, it's kind of insane. Alright, next battle, going first, leading with Charmander. Now again, you do ideally want to lead with Entei, but we can definitely work with this, especially if you can evolve next turn into Charmeleon and the turn after that into Charizard EX. Yeah, could be a bit better, but for now we are chilling like this. And our turn. Opponent Giant Capes places another Ponyta in the bench, singes our Charmander. Perfect. Okay, so we did get heads on the coin flip. Interesting, hand could definitely be a bit better. At this point, I'm gonna PC Lady, healing that damage up, and playing this rather slow, leading with Entei EX, just maximizing that ability, of course. So for now, we are kind of forced to do this and end our turn. I could Flame Patch, but I might save it for later on. We don't really need it unless, yeah, like that. Just like this, we get Charmeleon, so next turn Entei EX can attack without using Flame Patch. Interesting. Opponent attacks with Rapidash, uses Blaine. Next turn, this Pokemon is doing 60, paired with Blaine doing 90. So honestly, I'm going to play it like this. Why not? So first of all, evolving to Charmeleon, feed Entei, feed yet again. Sabrina, just to reset that counter, making so that my opponent can only do 30 to 60 damage. And attack. One-shotting Ponyta, getting insane value. Next turn, we can just sub in Mega Charizard. And this guy can start attacking because of the 2 Flame Patches. Yep, I think it's over. Opponent got very unlucky. Blaine doing 70 onto Entei. Entei does still survive. Yeah, I won either way, but just look at this. So hypothetically, if I weren't able to win this turn, I could just retreat, sub in Charizard X, use 2 Flame Patches, feed, and just like that, this guy can attack. Doing 100, yep, sure, it's not that much, but later on it will ramp up in damage. But I don't have to do that because I could just do this. Flame Patch, feed Entei, and GG. Yeah, so this deck is very fast-paced. A lot of fun. Again, 2 matches in, 2 to 3 matches in, I still kind of prefer Mega Charizard Y. I did use that deck recently in the last ranked season, and I saw a bit of success, went on like a 5-win streak. So yeah, that deck is still very viable even in today's meta, or at least in the previous meta. Alright, next battle, going first yet again against a Lightning deck. Very straightforward hand, very similar to the previous battle as well. So yeah, end our turn. Next turn, sub in the Charmeleon. Alright, not too bad. This is actually kind of insane. So for now, I'm going to retreat out of Charmander into Entei, then evolve, feed Entei because of this 1 Flame Patch. Look at this. Entei EX can attack. So yeah, this is kind of insane, not gonna lie. Fire is definitely cooking. I feel like Fire has always been kind of like a solid archetype, getting a ton of supports, being extremely viable throughout this game's lifespan. And as you can see, we haven't seen much of Charizard X because, I mean, Entei and Charmeleon just carry this whole archetype. Nice, we got second copy of Charmander as well. And opponent concedes, just like that. Yeah, I know this is a Charizard X deck showcase, but you most likely will experience this in ranked casual battle, whatever you play. Depending on your opponent's setup, the Entei EX / Charmeleon combo is hard to beat. Next battle, leading with Entei, we do get 2 copies of Pokeball. So we are guaranteed our Charmander, that's nice. Against Slugma, never been a huge fan of this Pokemon, but you never know. This battle could change my opinion. So just like this, 2 copies of Charmander, nice. Let's do this, do that, and in a couple of turns, we can get Mega Charizard X out. Opponent Giant Capes Copycats attacks with Slugma. It's basically over. I really don't think my opponent can win if they're just using Slugma, because look at this, man. Charmeleon, let's do that. Feed Entei yet again, and attack. And if you can get 1 more Flame Patch, then Charizard X will be attacking. 2 Flame Patches. This guy better not surrender. Does look like Ice Pop, but it is futile, because there's no beating Charizard X. Damn, my opponent's actually getting insane value. Places Slugma, Copycats yet again. They're at 6 cards, we are at 7. Evolves into Magcargo. Alright, Magcargo attacks. Not too bad. Kind of scary, given that this Charmander is pretty low. So at this point, before anything, I'm actually gonna We're gonna chill like this. Yeah. Because I don't think it matters. This guy can still get one-shotted if I do evolve into Charmeleon. So we're just gonna do this. Evolve into Charizard X. Sub him in. Flame Patch yet again. Feed and Raging Blaze. And it's ultimately down to RNG now. Anything can happen. This battle feels oddly fitting. It's like David versus Goliath, essentially. This guy is not going to die anytime soon, but the bench is looking very frail. My opponent might actually win next turn. Okay, attacks. Does damage to her bench though, okay. Still scary because this guy is on the brink of death. This guy's on life support. This guy gets tapped at least once. It's basically GG, but yes, at this point, sure, feed this guy just in case my opponent does try to Cyrus to mess me up. Raging Blaze yet again. This is why it's pretty awkward. Like 100 damage is okay. And again, for this EX, the main gimmick is to have this guy low enough to trigger that 80 more damage. But here we go. I could win or lose, depending on this turn. Opponent PC ladies as well. Okay. Yeah. GG. Damn, that's rough. That's the main issue for this deck, is that Mega Charizard X doesn't hit as hard as the Y version. And I feel like when it comes to the overall synergy of the fire type, synergizing very well with Charmeleon as well as NTX, depending on the circumstance, I feel like most of the time you'll see more viability using Charizard Y than Charizard X. Alright, next battle going first. Oh boy. Okay, we have a very straightforward path to Mega Charizard X. The main issue is that my opponent is using Mantike, and it will take us 2 more turns until we can one-shot this baby Pokemon. Opponent Mesagoza is getting heads. Not good. But what deck is this? Oh gosh, Igglybuff. My worst nightmare. Yeah, Charmander, it's damaged a bit, but it doesn't matter because after you do evolve, you do lose a sleep condition. So we got Tails, but in the grand scheme of things, it only matters once Mega Charizard X does get out. Alright, yeah, this is pretty rough because if he got heads on that, then we could have just subbed out of Charmander. I'm just gonna I do want a second copy of Charmander, perfect. So we're just gonna do this, do that, not that, this. Use the ability, of course. Place the second one down. Oh crap, running out of time. Gonna do that. One more energy, please. There we go. And just end our turn. Not able to attack, but next turn, this guy will be on the field, just one-shotting Igglybuff. Damn, yeah, opponent's getting very unlucky. But you see how fast-paced the deck can be. This is my 3rd turn, and just like this, Mega Charizard X is out and running. Get Tails? Yeah, doesn't matter. Freaking screw the rules, man. This guy doesn't fall asleep. This guy is like the opposite of narcoleptic. He has insomnia. Just like that, doing 100 damage, might as well Mesagoza. We got heads, nice. Not too bad. So very straightforward, doing 100. Opponent gets heads with Mesagoza. Gets another Igglybuff. I'm kind of confused what Mantike's purpose is. This guy is getting very unlucky. Just keeps on pulling babies. Slowly chipping us as well. I want to get attacked, but this is just trivial damage because we're going to get heads. Perfect. Look at that. Yep. Called it. PC Lady as well. So even if we did fail that coin flip, we could have PC Ladied, healing up that damage as well as cleansing Charizard X from its sleep condition and just bully my opponent's Igglybuff. So, and yeah, I'm gonna do one more battle, hopefully one where we can see Mega Charizard X at its full power. Going up against a Mega Venusaur EX Ogerpon deck with a little Darkrai support. NTX should die next turn. And looking at our Mega Charizard X, he's here. So as long as my opponent isn't red card, we are pretty much set. Yeah, we have one more card. Opponent has 4 cards in their deck. Okay, yeah, here we go. Battle of the Titans. Mega Charizard X versus Mega Venusaur EX. Place your bets on who will win. It looks like Charizard X should win, but ultimately it comes down to trainer cards. If my opponent does have a Sabrina, we actually might have lost. Not gonna lie. So hopefully they don't do that because I want to see this guy at full power. Alright, Mega Charizard X is only doing 100 damage. Should be 120, but my opponent does have Heavy Helmet. Does Lily? Okay, here we go. Battle of the Titans. Damn, that's rough. Okay, very unlikely that we can one-shot. Damn, so we can't one-shot. That's pretty rough. Yeah, Mega Charizard X taking a ton of damage. We have to get lucky with this coin flip. I think that's the only way we basically win. Actually, no, I think we lost either way. Damn, that's rough. But as you can see, doing 180. Yeah, I am forced to PC Lady just to attack, which is why, again, PC Lady does come in clutch. But it really depends on the deck that you're using, depending on the matchup. So we are doing 180, yeah. But the main issue is that looks like Mega Venusaur EX will be securing the win. So that's rough. Keep in mind, if I was using Mega Charizard X, I could just one-shot Mega Venusaur, just flat out. So yeah, comparing Charizard X to Charizard Y. I personally like Charizard X a lot better. It has better synergy with Entei EX, and ultimately it just feels so awkward to achieve that extra damage because you want to be at basically one-shot level to do that 180 damage. And in that specific scenario, let's say I did get heads on the sleep coin flip. If I did Lily, that would put me up to, I believe, 130 HP, not enough to do that 180 damage. So yeah, it feels so awkward. Just you want to be very low. This card wants to be very high risk, high reward. But in my opinion, the reward is definitely not worth the risk. And yeah, that was the deck showcase. Moral of this video, Entei EX is the king of fire type. And of course, Charmeleon is a good second in command, just getting insane energy generation as well as, of course, pairing it with Entei EX's card generation ability. You are outdrawing your opponent while also getting an energy lead, so just amazing synergy around the board. And when it comes to Mega Charizard X, I still prefer Charizard Y. I'm just going to pull it up for reference. If you guys don't know, yeah, Charizard Y I feel like is a lot better, a lot more fun for what it does. So as you can see, you just do flat 250. So this card requires one more energy than Charizard X. Does 250 base damage. Granted, you do take 50 damage of recoil later on, but you just do flat 250. There's no restrictions. You don't have to go below an HP threshold to do max damage. And most of the time, you will be one-shotting your opponent's Pokemon. There are some Pokemon that can withstand an attack from Mega Charizard X, of course, or Choreo. That Pokemon flat out just tanks that 250, not even phased. Also, Mega Steelix EX, with the right amount of support, that guy can tank one shot from Mega Charizard Y. And I like this version of Charizard. Again, very similar to the genetic Apex counterpart. Might as well just pull up very briefly. But I like it when Charizard just does flat damage, just able to one-shot most Pokemon. 200. Back in the day, this guy was insane. If anything, Charizard X is a spiritual successor to the Shining Revelry version of Charizard right here. But even then, it's just so awkward because I feel like most of the time you will be doing 100. Your opponent attacks, you're doing 180, but depending on the board layout, after this Charizard attacks, you want to win the game. You want this guy's 180 damage to be your win condition. Because if not, if your opponent can attack next turn, more likely than not, they can just one-shot this Mega Charizard X because it's super low. Overall, I'd rate this deck A-. A- to A, yeah, around that area, because again, I feel like this deck is very similar to the Mega Charizard Y version, and I feel like when it comes to overall effectiveness, you will see more success using Charizard Y than Charizard X. But yeah, that's the deck showcase. Overall, summarize what I said, Charizard Y all the way. Yeah, I still prefer Charizard Y, and that Pokemon is still viable. Again, I mentioned this before, but a couple days ago, I was using Charizard Y on stream. Shout out if you guys did watch. And I went on like a 5-win streak using Charizard Y. So still very viable, very fast-paced, as you can see with Entei EX. You can get an insane lead early game. But yeah, that's the video. Again, hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys found this video informative, as well as a bit entertaining. I tried to be. Also, as I briefly mentioned, I am starting to stream a lot more, both on Twitch and also on YouTube. So would really appreciate it if you guys do tune in. But yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.